Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing the Game Week 16 episode of the 100 Experts video. So we're going to be having a look at some of the transfer trends and captaincy decisions that FPL Experts are making this week to help you guys make your decision as well. So if you do enjoy this series, please do leave a like, really is appreciated so much. And let me know what you think about this series. And also please subscribe if you haven't done already, guys. But before we go any further, let's meet the experts of the video. So here they are in all their glory, 100 FPL experts, pundits and content creators for your viewing pleasure. Do go check all of them out. They're massively helping out all of us really by giving us their data of what they're up to in each game week 16 in this scenario. So let's look at the overview here. The overview, 77% of our 100 experts are making one transfer, 17% are making two transfers, just 1% are making three or more transfers. So maybe not a week to be making too many transfers. Nobody's using the wild card, everyone's already used it, and 5% are not making a transfer this week, which is actually surprisingly high. Considering that we get unlimited transfers in the following game week, it seems like just a few of our FPL experts are just so happy with their teams that they don't want to make a change whatsoever. But in general, guys, I would really recommend that if you do have a transfer go in, I would spend it. You use it or lose it, because you do get unlimited transfers after this game week. So even if it's something very simple, and I know some of our experts are doing the exact thing I'm about to say, making a really luxury transfer, like, you know, swapping out a Pope for a different goalkeeper that you like the look of for game week 16, or, you know, switching up a defender that you think has got a slightly higher chance for clean sheet, even if it's very luxury, KDB to Salah, whatever you like, something like that. I think it is very much worth using a transfer this week. There's no point in wasting it, basically. But what we should note here is that not too many of our FPL managers are making multiple transfers. This isn't really a week to take a hit, if you like, just because when you take a hit, you have to make it back this game week. You know, often when we take a hit, when we're taking a hit and we're kind of hoping to make our 4 points back over several game weeks, that opportunity is not going to be here. So unless you really think that the two players you're bringing in are going to outscore the two players you're removing by 4 or more points, and you are really confident about that, and you think there's going to be a significant difference there, then probably don't take a hit this week. That's probably a good piece of advice. But let's move on to some of the transfer trends that are going around the world. So in the whole world, the whole 10 million FPL managers, these are the most popular transfers in. You can see Almiron sitting way out in front there with over 274,000 transfers in at time of recording. I imagine that will go up even higher by the time we get towards deadline. You can understand why. He's very cheap and he's scoring very consistently. So even though he's got a game against Chelsea up next, there's still a lot of interest in him, and you can kind of understand why. We've got some other players in there. Haaland, I know a lot of people sold Haaland because of the injury problems and, you know, maybe him not starting, people getting that early information that he wasn't going to be starting games. Maybe advised people to remove him, but now they are bringing him back. We've got Trossard in there as well. Salah, after his good performance, returned to form, and various other players in there as well. Now, the question is there any correlation between this data and our expert data? And I can say, yeah, a little bit. So we've got 5 players: Haaland, Trossard, Gabriel, Darwin and Zaha. So these 5 players are not only popular among overall players, but they're also popular among our experts as well. These 5 really are the key. Now, I have to say, aside from these 5 players, there's not really too much interest in anyone else on this list. Not at all. There's like one person maybe transferring in each of the other players, maybe 2 at an absolute stretch for some of these players. Saliba, for example, 2 of our experts are transferring him in. And considering we've got 95 managers making at least one transfer this game week, maybe that tells you something, that some of these players are just not popular at all, even though there are so many transfers being made this week. But there is one player that no one is interested in at all. Not a single one of our 95 managers making transfers are interested in this player. And that player is James Maddison. So no transfers in for him whatsoever. I did kind of put him in the avoid category on the buy, sell, keep, avoid video yesterday. And I kind of thought, you know what, I just don't see why anyone would go for Maddison at this particular moment. West Ham away, difficult fixture, etc, etc. So yeah, Maddison, of all of the most popular players, Maddison seems to be the guy who is the avoid from these players among our experts. But obviously, you know, there is a little bit of correlation. A lot of these players aren't that popular among our experts, not because they're bad players. Maybe a lot of our experts already have players like Almiron or Salah or whoever, but yeah, that's just the trends that we're seeing right now. In terms of transfers out, we have got some standout players here. So Mitrovic is probably the first one we should talk about. He obviously plays against Manchester United, and we know he's got a little bit of an injury and maybe is going to be trying to be a little bit careful before he goes to the World Cup with Serbia, and therefore maybe he's not going to be at 100% even if he is playing, and maybe he is rested or his minutes managed just to give him that opportunity to go to the World Cup and put up a good performance there, because he's at the height of his career right now, and yeah, he's going to be really looking forward to that. I'm sure a real honour to do something like that with your nation. So Mitrovic is a player who we're kind of doubtful is going to do too well. Manchester United typically are not conceding too many goals. I know we had that Aston Villa game, but typically we're not seeing too many goals conceded by Manchester United, and Mitrovic has not been at 100% recently. We kind of know that. We understand that. So maybe he just needs a little bit more time to rest. We've got Callum Wilson there as well. He's carrying a minor injury as well, but I think it was more illness than anything else. So I think he is going to be back for this coming game week. I wouldn't worry about game time with Wilson too much. All the comments are reasonably positive, but still a lot of people not fully confident in Wilson, maybe worried about, you know, his illness getting in the way again potentially, or maybe it's the Chelsea game that our experts don't really like. Foden is just a rotation risk, we understand that. Alvarez was a 1 week punch, so you can kind of understand why he's going straight back out again. De Bruyne, maybe a little bit of a luxury transfer for some of our FPL experts, and you know, there's some other players here like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Tony, who people are probably just not confident in, you know, whether that's injury, whether that's poor fixtures, and Dallo obviously has the red card as well. So all of these players have good reasons to be removing them. Let's see who these players are kind of being replaced with. So we've got a nice big list this week of players that you could possibly transfer in. These are the most popular 11 players among our experts. All of these players have at least 3 or more transfers in. So if you need a little shopping list for Game Week 16, I would say that this is your shopping list right here. It looks pretty good, right? So Darwin way out in front. So Darwin really is the expert's pick, the expert selection for Game Week 16. So if you are at a loss, you don't know which kind of player you should be targeting, the standout player to me right now, looking at this data, and we spoke about it yesterday in Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid a little bit more, if you want to hear a little bit more about why Darwin is such a good pick, he is there at number 1, 31. So a third of our FPL experts are pretty much bringing him in. Add to that the FPL managers who already have him. We're going to see Darwin at some pretty high ownership among the top FPL managers. Now, aside from that, there's some pretty interesting options in here. So Kulusevski, he's obviously returned to fitness and has got a good game against Nottingham Forest for Spurs. So that's going to be very interesting to see how he does. We know when Kulusevski is at his best, he can do very, very well indeed. Haaland is in there. A lot of people did transfer out Haaland and now are bringing him back. Maybe some of you guys are in that situation. Perisic is the defender of choice. We know that he is going to be playing as a striker because of Son's injury. Perisic is going to be playing as a striker. Last game week, Perisic was actually the most advanced player on the pitch for Spurs against Liverpool. So if he's playing now against Nottingham Forest, if you're looking for a player who could potentially score goals, why not Perisic? He is classically a striker anyway. He's played as a forward for the majority of his career. He's more recently moved into the defensive positions, and now hopefully he's going to be on set pieces. He's going to be the most advanced player. He's going to be taking loads of shots on. He even hit the post last game week as well. So this could be an absolutely insane 1 week punt, and I'm sure a lot of our experts agree. Zaha the Troll in his new central position. Hopefully that's going to be a good one. We've got some other players here as well. Trossard, Martial. Maybe some of these are slightly punty, I guess. But I should also note that we've got Gabriel there, 3 out of 95. White, 3 out of 95. And we've got Saliba on 2 as well, which isn't on this screen right now. But I do think it is worth noting that 9 of our, 9 including Ramsdale as well, because one person brought in Ramsdale. So I'm just trying to remember all of the data that I collected today. But yeah, so 9 total of our FPL experts have brought in an Arsenal defender of some variety. Obviously, they play against Wolves. It's a good fixture if you're looking for a defender. So yeah, even though individually, Gabriel 3, White 3, Saliba 2, Ramsdale 1, individually they don't sound like very high numbers, but if you add them all together, a lot of people are really interested in those Arsenal defenders. So that's the final thing I want to point out there. Let's suggest some transfers for you guys to make at home. So the first transfers I'm going to suggest are a couple of ways of getting in Darwin, and I don't know how many people have so much money in the bank, but they do. I mean, I myself also have like 3 million in the bank right now, so if you are one of those people who's just got so much money laying around, then this could be a really good opportunity to kind of upgrade one of Mitrovic, maybe Wilson, up to Darwin Nunez. Now, I would be a little bit more hesitant about Wilson personally, because I do think he could actually put in a performance against Chelsea, assuming he is back and ready to go, which I think he will be. Mitrovic is a little bit more, I kind of understand it a little bit more, just because he is an actual injury. It's not an illness, it's an injury that he's kind of carrying, and we've got this big opportunity for him at for Serbia at the World Cup. Wilson, on the other hand, really needs to prove himself to try and get into the England World Cup squad. So maybe that's something worth considering, but yeah, certainly either player is probably still a very good upgrade to go for Darwin if you have that money in the bank. Another option is Foden. If you are not convinced by his minutes, he is getting rotated so much at the moment, isn't he? And it's causing a real problem. If you are sick and tired of the Foden troll, the Foden problem, the Pep Guardiola absolutely ruining our game weeks, then it might be time to just move him on. And Kulusevski seems to be the main midfielder that our experts are going for as a replacement. Good fixture, good player. When he's in good form, we can see good things from him. So that's a lot of goods. Good. Let's move on to some other suggested transfers. Okay, so some other suggested transfers. I do want to make a note of this one. If you haven't got Haaland in your FPL team right now, that's probably going to be your priority. So Mitrovic or Wilson to Haaland could be a good move. How you're going to fund that is another question, and you're probably going to have to deal with that yourselves, unfortunately. Although if you do have any questions, kind of ideas of how you can get Haaland back into your team and you want to run it by me or other people in the comment section, please do leave a comment and maybe me or someone else can help you out with that. But yeah, certainly if you can try and free up the money somewhere else, and this is what a lot of our experts have done, maybe done double transfers because they haven't got the money in the bank to upgrade back up to Haaland. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't, but that is definitely going to be a priority transfer if you don't have Haaland right now. So whatever forward you have, maybe it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin, maybe it's Tony, I don't know, but get Haaland back in. Dalot to Perisic. I have put Dalot here because he's just a very obvious defender to transfer out, but I would pretty much transfer out any defender for Perisic. I think Perisic is probably, and I'm sure the experts agree, judging by the transfers in for him, he's probably the #1 defender pick for this game week. So there's pretty much no such thing as a defender that I wouldn't transfer in for Perisic. Maybe there's an argument to say maybe not Trippier, but even he doesn't have the best fixture in the world. So yeah, any defender you have, if you want to make a transfer through defenders, just transfer out one of them and bring in Perisic. He is your guy. And finally, I've got a quick shout out to Zaha here as well. So if you've got a midfielder you want to remove, maybe Zaha is the solution to your problems, particularly if he's going to be playing in that central striker position, which he did last game week. And you know what? Every time Zaha plays centrally, he does so well. So it seems like it was only a matter of time before he was going to start playing centrally. And also Zaha, 30th birthday this week. I can't believe how old Zaha is. He just seems like a young guy, but he has been around for absolutely forever. So yeah, the neck tattoo legend could be an option for you. Let's round this video off with some captains, and we've got 4 major picks among our experts this week. We've got a few differentials as well, which I'll speak about after because I know you guys like hearing about them. But we've got 70% on Haaland this game week. I know there's not full confidence in Haaland at this moment because we're still not 100% sure how ready he's going to be, but from what I've seen, it's looked very good, guys. You know, he's been in training. He's been, speaking positively on social media. Maybe he's not going to be ready for the League Cup game, but, or any midweek game, really, in general. But by the weekend, I think he is going to be absolutely fine. So that's a real positive to be taken there. If Haaland was ready for some minutes last weekend, he's probably going to get a rest midweek, and then at the weekend he'll be back with a bang, most likely, with this Brentford game. And Brentford really are one of the weakest defences in the league, one of the very weakest defences in the league. So you can understand why a lot of people might want to go for Haaland as captain, knowing how good he is. We need to see Haaland back, scoring those goals, breaking those records. That's what he wants to do. He's not got the World Cup to worry about, so whilst a lot of other players may be playing kind of maybe in not in 5th gear necessarily, then maybe we are going to see some of these players who aren't going to the World Cup, and there are other players on this list, you can see Salah here as well, might actually be going full throttle in a game like this, so it could be pretty exciting. Salah, again, similar situation, no World Cup to worry about for him, although I'm sure he wished he was there, but this Southampton at home game is another opportunity for some goals. So Southampton are actually managerless right now. I wonder if, you know, sometimes with a team you can get a non-new manager bounce, you know, a sacked manager bounce if you like, but you would still say that Southampton are one of the weaker defences, and this Liverpool versus Southampton game is definitely one to be targeting. So Salah, extra points for goals, he gets an extra point for a clean sheet, he's on penalties. There is actually a lot to like about Salah in this fixture as well, so definitely worth considering if you fancy that differential. If you don't want Haaland, Salah is pretty much the player you go for. Outside of that, we are getting a little bit, maybe a little bit too differential, but some of our experts seem to disagree. So we've got 4% on Darwin, maybe going for Darwin instead of Salah. Darwin is obviously very central to everything that Liverpool do in the attack, and often gets a lot of opportunities that maybe Salah doesn't. And we've got De Bruyne there as well, obviously a phenomenal player, who, particularly where if Haaland is back, De Bruyne and Haaland as a combo would just work really well together. So maybe if you can't get Haaland back in and you still want to go in on that Man City fixture, then maybe De Bruyne is your friend instead. But all four of these players I think are pretty good captain options. Haaland is the safe option, Salah is the differential, Darwin and De Bruyne are the super differential, only for the crazy. And if you're ultra crazy, there are 3 1%ers. So here are the 1%ers, guys. Hold your breath. Harry Kane, one manager going for him. Martinelli, one manager going for him. Almiron, one manager going for him as well. So obviously anyone going for these super differentials are always on fraud watch, don't get me wrong, but I have to say, guys, and I always shout out these 1% differentials that some of our managers are going for, and over the last couple of weeks they've kind of been doing okay. Like, genuinely, like, some of these differentials are really paying off. That's not me encouraging you guys, I'm just saying there are more than one way to play FPL, as we have learned very, very obviously this season. So there we go, guys. Those are your captain picks. Hopefully that's going to really help you with some of your questions. I mean, is there any other captains you guys would consider? I don't know. Maybe let me know. And that's going to be the end of the video today. If you did enjoy what you saw today, please do leave a like. Like, I know the 100 Experts video doesn't get as many views as some of the other videos on this channel, so I'm always a little bit concerned. Do people actually like the series or not? Any feedback you have, or, you know, if you think we can improve it in a way, or you just think it needs to be scrapped and we'll replace it with a different kind of series, I think whatever works for you guys, I'm happy to do. So yeah, like, do subscribe, and aside from that, guys, I will see you tomorrow for a team selection video, which I'm not really looking forward to making, but we move. Thank you guys for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.